never forget the day that I first discovered Monster Hunter. It was 2010, and I was just a wide eyed kid wandering through Walmart when something caught my eye. Monster Hunter 3 Try. It was sitting behind the glass case like a treasure waiting to be claimed. The cover alone had me hooked. A lone hunter in a boat staring down a massive sea monster. It felt like something out of legend. I didn't even need to think twice. I was leaving with this game. And let me tell you, few games have ever pulled me in quite like Monster Hunter 3. From the moment I booted it up, I was hooked. The combat, the monsters, the sheer sense of adventure, there was nothing else like it. First off, the mechanics. Brutal, rewarding, and unforgettable. One of the things that makes Monster Hunter so great is its combat. Every attack, every dodge, every moment in a hunt feels deliberate. There's no mindless button mashing here. You have to know your weapon, study your enemy, and master your timing. And try? Well, it gave us something we have not seen since, and I can see why. Try introduced underwater combat, and swimming in Try felt less like a fierce hunter chasing down monsters, and more like I accidentally got thrown into a public pool with armor on. You're trying to line up an attack, but instead, you're just awkwardly floating around while Lagicarius turns you into an underwater punching bag. But hey, once you got used to it, it was actually pretty epic, like fighting a boss battle in 3 dimensions, just with the occasional where the hell am I moments. But despite its quirks, Try refined the Monster Hunter formula to near perfection. Every hunt felt like a test of skill, every victory felt earned, and every failure, it just made you want to come back stronger, baby. Now let's talk weapons. Every choice is a new playstyle. Weapons in Monster Hunter aren't just different skins for dealing damage, they are completely different playstyles. And Try had an awesome lineup. The Great Sword, Long Sword, Hammer, and Bowgun, all classics. But this was also the game that introduced the Switch Axe, one of the coolest weapons in the franchise. A weapon that could shift between a massive axe and a powerful sword, an instant favorite. No matter what you picked, every weapon had its own rhythm, its own strengths and weaknesses. Mastering them felt like mastering an entirely new game. Let's talk armor, style and strength in every set. Let's be real. One of the best things about Monster Hunter is the armor. Wearing the skins of beasts you've slain, now that is peak hunter energy. Try delivered some of the coolest armor sets in the series. The sleek Barioth set, the electrifying Lagicarius gear, the legendary Rathalos armor, every piece wasn't just about stats. It was about style. When you walked into a hunt decked out in full Rathalos gear, you felt like a legend. Then there's monsters, the heart of the hunt. Of course, what's Monster Hunter without the monsters? Try introduce some of the most iconic creatures in the series, but none more legendary than Lagicarius. Oh, Lagicarius, the king of the sea, the monster that stole our hearts and left us wanting more. Monster Hunter Try introduced this electrifying Leviathan, and to this day, it remains one of the coolest monsters ever created. The sleek design, the way it moves through the water like a true apex predator, it was the perfect mix of beauty and danger. Fans still miss it. And honestly, I don't blame them. Lagicarius wasn't just a monster, it was an experience. But Monster Hunter doesn't just rest on nostalgia. Every new game adds something fresh. Monster Hunter 4. the evolution of combat. Then came Monster Hunter 4, and this game changed everything. It took what we loved about Try, cranked up the intensity, and introduced some of the best mechanics in the series. For the first time, we had vertical movement. Suddenly, you weren't just fighting monsters on flat terrain. You were climbing walls, leaping between platforms, and most importantly, mounting monsters. That's right, you weren't just fighting them, you were on them, hacking away as they tried to shake you off. It made combat feel way more dynamic, faster, and way more intense. And then there were the weapons. MH4 brought two new additions, the Charge Blade and the Insect Glaive. The Charge Blade, a hybrid weapon that stored energy and unleashed devastating attacks. One of the coolest weapons in my opinion. But the Insect Glaive, pure anime protagonist energy. With aerial flips, insane mobility, and a pet insect that powered you up. It completely changed how players approached combat. And the monsters? They weren't just stronger, they were infected. Monster Hunter 4 introduced the Frenzy virus, making fights even more unpredictable. And leading the charge, Gore Magala, one of the most iconic monsters in the franchise. Dark, menacing, and bringing absolute chaos to the world. It set a new standard for flagship monsters. Monster Hunter World, the revolution. Then Monster Hunter World arrived, and it changed the game. For the first time, Monster Hunter had seamless open world environments. No loading zones, no segmented areas, just one giant living ecosystem. The maps weren't just backgrounds, they were living, breathing worlds where monsters acted like real creatures. Rathalos hunted prey, Deviljho invaded fights, and when two monsters met, they fought each other. Combat was smoother, weapons felt better than ever, and the additions of the slinger and environmental traps made every fight more cinematic. And the monster designs? Next level. Nergigante, Valhazak, and of course, Basilgeuse, the flying war crime that always showed up uninvited. And just when you thought you were done, Iceborne dropped with master rank monsters, insane in-game hunts, and creatures like Runer Nergigante and Elatrion pushing players to their limits. Monster Hunter Rise, the speed revolution. Then came Rise, and this game redefined speed. The biggest game changer? The wire bug. Suddenly, you weren't just running after monsters, you were zipping through the air, pulling off mid air combos, and recovering from knockbacks like a ninja. It made movement feel insane. And speaking of fast, combat in Rise was next level. Every weapon got new Silkbind attacks, giving hunters even more flexibility. And then there were Palamutes, aka the best boys. Who needs slow travel when you can ride a wolf into battle like a medieval warrior? And just when we thought it couldn't get better, Sunbreak arrived. Master rank hunts, brutal new monsters, and Malzeno, one of the most stylish Elder Dragons ever. Monster Hunter Wilds. The future is here. And now, Monster Hunter Wilds is on the horizon. From what we've seen, it's shaping up to be the most ambitious, jaw-dropping Monster Hunter game ever. Massive open landscapes, dynamic weather that changes monster behavior, new mysterious beasts waiting to be discovered. And let's be honest, Capcom is about to change the game again. New weapons, new mechanics, maybe even a new way to hunt. Whatever they've got in store for us, we are ready. At the end of the day, Monster Hunter isn't just a game, it's an experience. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of mastering your weapon, the joy of crafting that perfect set of armor, and the moments of pure adrenaline when you finally take down that beast that's been giving you hell. Every game in the series builds on what came before, but one thing remains: the hunt is always worth it. And with Monster Hunter Wilds on the way, the best hunts are yet to come. Happy hunting.